from the 260 to the 469 as two-time fantasy football champ Forrest Lundberger going for a repeat three-peat. Forrest Lundberger would say, "How's it going?" Yeah, thanks for tuning back in for another episode of the DNFL. I know some people had asked me if I'm playing again this year. I'm not. I enjoyed watching football more last year from afar, being the media resource for the DNFL, the TMZ for the DNFL, as some might say. So yeah, I just enjoyed watching football more, not playing fantasy for the first time in a while. So I think I am going to keep up the streak. Yeah, people have asked me before, how's the weather? The weather this summer. I don't know if you guys have been outside, but I am gonna quote Samuel L. Jackson from Do the Right Thing, the opening scene, if any of you guys have seen that. He goes through today's forecast and he says, today's forecast is going to be hot. It's been really hot this summer. That's all I really got to say. Um, but yeah, I kind of just wanted to jump on here for a little bit this evening to talk about what my thoughts are going into the draft. Honestly, one of the things I looked forward to most in this league every year was the draft party, the draft banner, and the draft prep. Honestly, I haven't really done much prep this year. I've looked at auction values off and on, but I just kind of wanted to share some thoughts with you about where my head is at on things. And yeah, that's kind of all I really wanted to do and accomplish tonight. Just adjusting a few things over here. But yeah, I just wanted to do that. It is Big Brother veto night. So I wanted to finish this before then. Will they use the veto? Will they not? I have to tune in to find out. But let's go ahead and just get started. I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right, I can see this, but can you see this? That's the question. I'm just going to enter in full screen so I can see this better. Let me go over to my other screen. Okay, we're starting off now with quarterbacks. I'm just going to share my general thoughts. Just as I look through this list, generally, when I try to target quarterbacks, and again, you don't have to listen to my advice. I've never won this league. I've won leagues in the past, but it's been a while. Um, but yeah, what I try to do, I don't entirely like paying as much money as you would for the top guys. I guess if for whatever reason the value is lower later in the draft and they go later, if it makes sense, it makes sense. But I think as far as quarterbacks, who would I be targeting? I think Jalen Hurts, maybe if the price is right. Um, Honestly, I feel like Mahomes going for $11 is a steal. Let me preface this. I don't know how many people are going to be in our league. I am just going with the default 8 team $200 budget. But as I'm going through here again, I think, again, we want to ask ourselves, as Forrest would say, that's good value. Is it good value? Um, so, yeah, I think Mahomes at $11, I think that's good value. Again, Jalen Hurts for the right price, I would be interested in that. A couple other players just that I think I would have interest in, just not only for owning them in fantasy, but just for watching their games. Brock Purdy interests me at that price. Bo Nix does as well. Honestly, I feel like if you could get Stroud for that price, I didn't have him last year. I know some people were disappointed, but that's what happens when you pay more in one year and they don't live up to expectations. Really, you want a player to have a safe floor and have good upside. So, really, with quarterbacks, I mean, again, I feel like you can have league winners, but I think more often than not, that happens with one or two teams, and the rest just kind of like, how can I fill that position with someone that can just consistently contribute? But yeah, those are my thoughts on quarterbacks. All right. Running backs. We're on the running backs. Um, Again, like I generally would stay away from paying for the top guys. I think in this category though, if it's not being bid up too far, I would, yeah, I would pay market value for Saquon this year. I think he's at the age where he's not at a decline level yet for running backs. He's had injury concerns in the past, but again, I think for a lot of teams last year, he was a league winner. I think he probably can be again this year. Really, when we get into these positions like running back, wide receiver, tight end is kind of hit or miss now just because I don't feel like you have the same level as dominance as you did back in the day when you had Gronk and Jimmy Graham. But I would say really your skill position players, your running backs, and your wide receivers. I like to think of this as a like if we pictured a auction draft like a snake draft, which players do I think if I was like with my first three picks in a snake draft, would I either be able to hit their floor on what they're going pre-draft or even possibly exceed that? Again, like I think Saquon has as good of an argument as anyone to be the number one running back. If you wanted to pay that much for a running back, I think I might have interest. Again, if I'm not being bid up too far, I would say go for it. I am in general am gonna avoid Bijan, Jameer, and Derrick Henry. Um, I think Bijan, I think he had a really good finish, but I think for most of the year, or maybe just the beginning part of the year where it's just like, I don't know, I feel like he set a lot of teams behind. I'm not even on Bijan. There's Bijan. So I think I'd probably stay away from him this year. Jameer Gibbs is another one where I think he had a really good year last year. The thought of just having David Montgomery there still like concerns me a little bit. I think Montgomery was hurt for part of the year last year. But yeah, just wondering if that's still a running back for by committee or if Jameer Gibbs is just going to get all the carries. Henry, again, he might be safe there. Age concerns me a little bit. I think really right after this point, again, I say if it's been a while, if maybe whatever he went to Germany for is paid off. But if you really can get Christian McCaffrey for that low $30 value, or as like the fifth highest running back on the board, I would say go for it. If you believe that he's going to have a successful injury free year, you have as good of an argument as anyone for him to exceed his draft position. But as far as like asking me the question, what do I look for when I try to target running backs? With this being a half PPR, actually, maybe I should update this. I'm going to update this to half PPR. I don't really think. Oh, it did change things a little bit. What do you know? But anyways, I don't think it changed things too much. But I would still, I'd still target. Yeah, I'd still target Christian McCaffrey there. He exceeded Derrick Henry $1, give or take, whatever. Yeah, I'd still target him there. I'm just going to keep going and tell you which ones I like. But, anyways, my point with switching to the half PPR system is when I look at running backs, even if we aren't doing PPR or half PPR, I look at it as like, hey, if a team's down by a lot, they're very unlikely to run the ball. So, really, when I'm picking running backs, I want them to be a dual threat where they not only can run well, but they also have shown the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. That way, they're still useful if and when a team is down by a lot of points and they have to throw to catch up. But, anyways, I'm just going to keep moving. I feel like Genty at that amount for a rookie is really high. Kyron Williams just got paid. I think that's good value there. Yeah, same with Jonathan Taylor. I think the Colts lost a couple people on their offensive line. They could struggle this year. I don't know if you're paying that much for like a bell cow running back, though. I feel like that's worth it. This is where I get into the other running backs that I'd be interested in. Bucky Irving, just again, someone having that dual threat combination. I think $22 is a good value. I'm skipping some people intentionally, but I'm just giving you an idea of like these are the players I'd be going after if I was drafting. Okay, this is someone I'm actually really, I think, high on. Blake always says Adam takes all the rookies. It's true. I do take all the rookies. But I think there's normally a lot of really good upside if you target the right rookies. Again, you can't target all the right ones every year, but Omarion Hampton for the LA Chargers. Chargers spent a second round pick on him. He showed a pass catching ability in college, and Harbaugh has shown that he wants to run the ball. The Chargers have one of the best offensive lines in the league. I think for the fact that you could get him at $14, he's going to get a lot of involvement in the offense very well. Again, we try to look at like, hey, who can keep their floor or who can exceed it? Is there any reason why he couldn't go up to here? I would say why not? I mean, for what you're paying for him, I think it's worth a chance. Again, we're just trying to throw darts on a dartboard right now and just see who sticks. Again, it's something similar. David Montgomery, maybe take a shot on him. Again, if for whatever reason, carry on, not carry, carry on Johnson used to play for the Lions. I don't even think he's in the NFL anymore. Jameer Gibbs. If for whatever reason he gets hurt, I think David Montgomery can just fill right in. And yeah, at that price, why not? Why not? I've been hearing good things from Travion Henderson out of camp. Um, I don't know how good the Patriots' offensive line is this year. I know they made a couple moves in the draft, and Mike Vrabel's shown in the past having a player like Derrick Henry that he wants to run the ball. So really, if he's your starting running back, and he's getting 10 to 15 touches a game, I feel like that's worth a shot at $6 where he's going at. Excuse me. But yeah, someone else I would take a shot on. RJ Harvey is someone I want to talk a lot about. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Denver this year. I don't know how much of it is true, but Sean Payton has been someone that wants to use multiple running backs. Denver spent, I think, a second or third round pick on Harvey. They have one of their better offensive lines in the league. And again, he in college, similar to Hampton, showed that combination to not only run the ball, but also catch passes. I don't have any other like dart throws. I think maybe, I don't know what Kareem Hunt's doing that could be interesting. Cam Scattaboo is someone else that's interesting where I'm like, the Giants might not be very good, but like if you could get them for a couple dollars, it's worth taking a shot. Um, I don't know what's going on with Junkins if he's going to get suspended or not. I don't know it. That'd be worth a shot. I don't have any other. Uh, Taj Brooks, he could be interesting on Cincinnati maybe if Chase Brown gets hurt. He had a good year at Texas Tech last year. The Bengals upgraded parts of their offensive line. Could be worth a shot. Okay, that's all I really have there. I'm going to move on to wide receivers now. Again, like for what I'm paying right there isn't anyone where I'm like, I need to spend most of my money on that one player. So I don't think it's going to be those two. I don't even know if it's going to be CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nakua. Um, yeah, I would spend market value or maybe a little bit above for Puka Nakua. I think you are getting basically the price that you paid for him, and he has the chance to be a top receiver. I don't know if a Monroe will be the top receiver, but I think he's a very safe pick if you want to spend money there to stay at that 5 to 8 range. Had him in fantasy one year, and he's just super consistent. I'm going to keep going. Um, Terry McLaurin hasn't re-signed yet. Probably stay away from him. Devontae Adams on the Rams is interesting. Just at his price. Yeah, I think similar from Nakua, people will talk about Stafford and his back problems. I mean, what 37-year-old guy doesn't have back problems? I mean, let's be serious. But yeah, Devontae Adams seems interesting. Garrett Wilson at $14. I don't know, worth a shot. Let me look at some other ones. Again, I don't know what's happening with suspensions. Um, Rashid Rice could be interesting. Do what you want there. Oh, this is one I was looking at. Devonta Smith, I was looking at his stats before I jumped on here, but I mean, he was right on pace last year, but missing like 3 games, I assume due to some sort of injury. I mean, if he would have played those 3 games, he would have gotten his standard like 1,000 yards and 80 catches. I think a very safe, startable player that you could target. I think I may have already talked about Garrett Wilson, but I think for that price, I don't know who's throwing the ball for the Jets right now. Is Tyrod Taylor the quarterback? I don't know. I think Wilson's good enough that if you're paying that much for him, I think that's good value. Um, hope I'm not getting sick. Excuse me. Um, Again, I'm looking at these values on Fantasy Pros. This is what I used last year, and I thought it was pretty comparable to ESPN or whatever we used, whatever Caleb's spreadsheet was. Jaden Reed at $1 is interesting. I don't know if Travis Hunter is worth $1, but someone that was a top 5 draft pick that'll be playing mostly receiver. Hey, he could get you some interceptions too, and I don't know if you'd get points for that. But I don't know. I think that could be interesting at more than $1. Um, there was here's what I was doing. Again, we try to look at players later that for whatever reason, like, hey, could they finish top 20? I talked about in the running backs when I talked about just a few that I mentioned where I'm just like, we'll see what happens. Kareem Hunt, Taj Brooks was on there somewhere. Not Ramonde. Caleb Johnson, RJ Harvey, Travion Henderson. But yeah, like here, what am I looking at? Um, so I don't know like who on the Niners is going to be healthy at receiver this year. I know Ayuk tore his ACL last year, so I'm not sure when he's coming back. But like if I was drafting this year, I would load up I would pick both and take it a few weeks to see which one pops off the most. Maybe they both do, and you keep both of them. Ricky Pearsall for the 49ers, and I don't think he's probably on here, but I'd go after Jacob Cowing as well for the 49ers. He's probably not on here, but yeah, you could get both of them probably for a few dollars. Um, yeah, there was one other player, and I don't think they're going to be on here. So I'm just going to look up their name real quick. There it is. So Jalen Royals, who he was drafted in the 4th round by the Chiefs. I think he's worth taking a flyer on. I've looked through this list pretty good, and I haven't looked up anything a ton. I don't see him on here. Could be worth a flyer. Again, I read this week that he was getting first team reps in camp. Could be worth a throw. But again, I'm just trying to show like, hey, if I was drafting, these are the type of things I would be doing. I'm going to move down to tight ends. I really didn't have time to look at this. So I don't know really what I'm going to say here. But again, like tight end is kind of hit or miss. I feel like Kittle for that much is a lot. I could be wrong. Like if you're telling me like, and you're making me pick a tight end, what would I be doing? Honestly, I would be fine with like one of these 3. This would probably be my last on the list. But like at this dollar amount, I think it is good value. Um, Dallas got it for $1 at in Philly. Evan Ingram in Denver. I would like Tyler Warren more if the quarterback situation was better, but I don't know. Just not knowing what's going on or who's going to be the quarterback, that kind of concerns me. But those are kind of the players that I would be looking out for, minus Tyler Warren. I don't even know if this guy's on here, but the Rams picked who was that? What's his name? He was a second round pick for them, and he went to Oregon. Look, Terrence Ferguson, that's who it is. But yeah, that's someone I would potentially target later because I don't even see him on here. You could probably get him for a couple dollars. I don't know. Ryan might pay a lot for him because he's a Rams fan, but that's a guy I would be looking at maybe later. Again, what are you trying to do here? You're trying to essentially just have your whatever spot you're um, getting players at later, just trying to have them exceed that dollar amount to where, like, hey, are they in the top 20 or top 15 of their position? Well, you probably want them to be higher for a tight end, but you kind of get what I'm saying. But yeah, this was really unprepared, but I kind of just wanted to share, like, hey, these are some thoughts circling through my mind on what I would be doing if I was drafting this year. But thank you again for just tuning in to another episode of the DNFL. I don't know, again, how active I will be on this year. If I will be on every week, I know I will do a draft recap episode, maybe get some notable quotes from draft night. I hope to see all of you there. But until then, I hope your spreadsheets are ready. I hope you're doing more research. And I hope that you are ready to crush your draft. See you later.